Okay, we're back. Okay, we're back. And I see KJ has come here now. I got to do a new pop out for the two YouTube. I can speak now like normally. Oh my gosh. Being on TikTok, like KJ told me, don't say retarded, they'll ban you for saying retarded. Oh, Putin offers Khamenei asylum. That's what Tusi wrote. Khamenei fleeing to Russia as Tehran collapses. I just said that the Syrian leader went to Russia. Now he's going to Russia. It's over. The Iranian regime is collapsing. It's over. Now, here's the problem. And this is why what you hear in the public makes no sense. How do you make two parties talk when there's nothing representing unless unless after that phone call, Putin is the mediator because he has Khomeini sitting next to him in Moscow. That's a great way to mediate when you have the person sitting right next to you because they fled the country. Right? I mean, I guess, right? Yeah, I saw that, Amol. I mentioned that earlier. I said to myself, well, you watch me to see what I look like? Are we going to go on a date if you say I'm good looking? The person said, you ugly. I was cracking up when I seen it. I think Wanderer got the person, timed them out. I don't like to ban unless it's absolutely necessary. And welcome and hello to KJ. I see you. Well, now you know where I am here. That was brilliant. Did you see how, and I get it. There are people, obviously, with both sides. They look at things from both sides. I do. So I respect when people say that Netanyahu is wrong in attacking Iran, or those that are supporting what happened. I get it. That's the whole point. That's debate, the conversation. I get it. But remember 1979, the Shah. Now, was that, some may say he was a puppet of the colonialists. There's different things you hear. Obviously, you can come at this from any perspective. You can. But I can tell you this. The question is, let's just say the regime falls. What fills the void? Does the IRGC take over? And like I said this yesterday, make it a militarized state? Does the people, is there some kind of a democratic process to elect a new leader, a new president? Because they're still the president of Iran. Where is he? I haven't heard anything about the president of Iran currently. Exactly. You're absolutely right. There's no guarantee that anything that comes next will be better. And actually, there's probably going to be a lot of civil unrest, unfortunately. I mean, that's the thing. You don't know. I would say publicly, you have countries condoning this, and some that are condemning it. Obviously, there's two sides. The condone, the condemn. And the majority of the West is condoning it. China, Russia, Pakistan are condemning it. But you have to understand their relationships with Iran. That's an obvious guess. Just think how much oil. And if you notice, Israel hasn't been going after the oil fields. They've been going after gas. and infrastructure. But they know that if they hit the oil, that's a game changer. China's dependency on Iranian oil, though less, but they still get oil from Iran. Russia was getting help with their fight against Ukraine from Iran. So you know they're looking to help Iran. So how do you have Putin as an unbiased mediator creating some kind of a peace ceasefire with Iran and Israel? I think that's laughable. I think that's laughable. He's not a person that's you would think fits the criteria as a mediator. Yeah, he has direct communication. Probably he'll be sitting next to him soon, the Ayatollah in Moscow. If that is true, that he fled the country and is heading to Russia. I also think the Persians want the change too. Because if you watch Tusi, who's getting and showing you video from inside Iran, from his friends and family inside Iran, the people are celebrating. And they're saying chants, not death to the United States or Israel. They're saying a different type of chant. The people are oppressed. They want to have the freedoms that they see other modernized Arab, even though it's Persian, Muslim countries have. It would be a lot better than what they're at now. So yes, if you watch and you've been watching Tusi, I know you have, you can see what he's posting. The videos from inside Iran. The people, I'm talking, it looks like hundreds of thousands of people are fleeing Tehran right now. And yesterday. He's got the video, he's showing it. You're not seeing it, I don't know, I haven't been checking, probably on mainstream media because they're putting out a certain narrative from a U.S. perspective, point of view. Obviously, the president is being very careful not to say anything that could provoke an attack against our troops. So he's being careful publicly what he says, but behind the scenes, that might be a different story. But you don't want to provoke something right now because right now Israel seems to be doing just fine on their own. And, I'm sure we're providing support, but, this is, there is also there are tons of Persians in India, and they also want change, I'm sure. Yeah, you could see people speaking out all over the world, actually, that they would like to see the Ayatollah and the regime fall. But you have to understand, there's also the other side. Like I said, when people were putting in comments yesterday, I understand their point of views, and it's legit, because there's many ways to look at this. Because a lot of people in Persia, well, maybe the old school, the old guard, let's call it. I don't know so much about the newer generation. Israel are occupiers. They're settlers. That territory, they never will recognize Israel as a state. They're also a regime in their view. They don't recognize it, and they never will. So you still have that element. And still in the Arab world, there is that element. That they don't recognize Israel. And you always hear that. When will they recognize Israel as an actual state? That's still a problem within the Arab community and countries. So this has got a lot of things. You got to remember this. Besides Saudi Arabia saying one thing publicly, condemning Israel for going into Iran, they're celebrating behind the scenes. That's the enemy. That's their enemy. Shia Sunni, tribal factions. They cannot stand Iran. And you can guarantee they blame Iran for supplying the Houthis in their war that they had with them. So do you think Saudi Arabia is like really disappointed in what's going on right now? They're saying, whoa, if they're taken out, the Houthis are going to be severely weakened because that's a proxy. They may not be so much of an issue for us anymore. What they say publicly is one thing. What they're thinking and saying behind the scenes could be totally different. You understand? Yes. And I don't want to see the United States in any war. But you got to remember the United States' obligation to defend Israel since the creation of it, because we helped make it happen. We are responsible for it from 47. So under this president, things have changed. In regard to, he's doing the best he can from not getting involved directly. I mean, they're still getting the support. They're still being defended by missiles coming in. And there's word that the UK also, France backed out, but it looks like the UK also is helping defend Israel from incoming barrages. But we have to be careful when people repeat what our president says as being America first, that we might as well pull out of NATO. We might as well just take all our troops from every country and pull them back. Because if something breaks out in these countries, we're not going to get involved. There's got to be a line here. It's a fine line, but there's got to be a line here. And I'll tell you why. The same way people were talking about Biden, China moving into Taiwan. Well, what do you think China's thinking right now from the America First policy? They're not going to start a war. They're not going to get involved in anything that has nothing to do with the United States. Well, they're looking at Israel right now. Wow. I've never seen this on any president administration, that they're allowing bombs to hit Tel Aviv. When did this happen before? Under Biden, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Reagan, Nixon? This is new. The only under this administration is this happening. And they're saying, this is Mr. No Wars. We could take Taiwan, because that's not in America's best interest, unless there's a financial part of it that it makes it. And people were talking, oh, they're going to move into, with Biden, they're going to move into Taiwan, they're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. They never did. But now, Taiwan is not America's problem, right? Just like Israel's not America's problem. Just like a lot of other regions in the world are not America's problem, right? Well, that sends a signal. It sets a precedent. Other countries are paying attention. I would not be surprised China moves on Taiwan by the end of the year now. Because they're going to say, he's not going to want to start a war with us. If he doesn't want to start a war with Iran, he's not going to start a war with us. We're going to take Taiwan. He's not going to do anything, because he's all talk, but no action, because he's going to say, we're not going to get involved, the United States, that's a major world war. Forget about Iran. With China, that's world war. So you could kiss Taiwan goodbye because of this policy, because of the message it sends. That's a fact. It doesn't matter about the false information of Israel or Iran. I'm not talking about all that. I'm talking about our policy position. I'm not talking about Israel, who's right, who's wrong, who started, who's this. It's the message it sends for other things to happen. That's the least that we should be debating right now. What we should be debating is what happens next. What message does this send to other countries? That's the concern that I'm thinking long term, not the short term. And like I said, it's amazing how the rhetoric was, oh, Taiwan, China's waiting for the tides to be right so they can have a naval invasion, probably in May. This I've heard this so many times. Moving in under Biden, under this is going to happen. Well, if the recipe is there right now, all cooked up, it's now. Because Mr. No Wars is not going to start an America First war with China when they take Taiwan. Taiwan is going to be gone. I predict by the end of the year, Taiwan is going to be taken by China because they're looking at this. See, it's not about so much about what's going on with Iran and Israel. We all know who's at fault, what's at, everybody has an opinion. Israel was wrong to attack, which I also say they undermined the United States because the United States was supposed to have a meeting with Iran that Sunday. They attack on Thursday, undermining our meeting with Iran. But when you look at the bigger picture, it's not good. If I was in China right now and I'm a person in the intelligence field and analyzing what's going on right now, and I'm saying the United States is just, and it's because we don't, obviously I'm for that too. I don't want us to get another long drawn out war. Look at the past. Do we not learn? Obviously. But like I said, there's also a certain fine line there. Do we eventually step in? Right now, I don't see a need to. Because Israel's doing a pretty good job on their own, don't you think? Now, the president has said, if I think there's going to be a time to intervene, I will. He's made that clear. And if they even think about attacking any U.S. forces, they're toast. And they know this. That would be a fatal mistake on Iran's part to attack anything related to the United States right now. That would be a fatal mistake. So they know better. Good day, Amol. Go to work. So there's a lot of ways to look at this from different perspectives, different opinions, obviously. And everyone would be right, just looking at it from a different perspective. Because there's many ways to look at what's going on right now. There's not just one way to look at it. There's a lot of different things going on. Because I've seen video coming out of Tehran yesterday. I started streaming. I haven't looked at anything today. But you should see the damage in Tehran. You should see the people fleeing. The floods, sewage on the streets of Tehran. Why? How do I know? Watch 2C TV and you'll see all the video he's getting. Because he's Persian and he has people in Iran sending him stuff from inside Iran. His father is still being held by the IRGC in Tehran. Just personal for him. And he's Persian. And it's bad. We're not seeing too much coming out of Iran. We're seeing what comes out of Israel. But there's a lot of people suffering in Iran as well, civilians. And this is the hypocrisy that got me the other day when I heard it, because I was watching the UN Security Council meeting, the emergency one, between Iran, Israel, everybody else made a statement. And when the UN representative for Israel says, we will not accept Iran, I'm paraphrasing, striking civilian locations. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, aren't you striking civilian locations in Gaza? That didn't sound right to me. Just to be fair, that didn't sound right. So, but you're doing it. And they're doing it now. I mean, what I would love the world to see, and myself, actually, is a complete aerial view. A complete aerial view of the Gaza Strip. And let's see what that looks like. And let's see what they did to Hamas embedded civilian populated areas. So what did you do? You didn't want to put soldiers in there because you know they're booby trapped and everything. So let's just take the whole building down. Gaza has a population over 2 million. I don't know where they're living right now because the place is in rubble. I don't know what their infrastructure looks like because they have no water, no food, no hospitals. Over 2 million people live there. What about that? Really, what about that? Is the world not like closing their eyes to what's going on in Gaza? To the civilians because they're so focused on Hamas? What about the innocent people that suffer? Children. Almost half the population of the Gaza Strip are children. Does anybody care? You know what I mean? It's a mess. So obviously there's a double standard. At least a double standard. So, Jim, you said it right. This is a mess. A mess that we should stay the heck out of. And I agree with you on that. Now, like I said, if they try to close the Strait of Hormuz, which cuts off the oil supply, like 25% of the world's oil supply, that's a problem. We can't allow that. If they attack U.S. bases or personnel or anything like that, game on. Game on. But we should not get involved unless absolutely necessary. And Israel had to know when they attacked Iran that there was going to be casualties. There were going to be missiles coming in throughout the whole country. Obviously, they knew this. But it's still stunning to see these missiles hit populated civilian areas in Israel. So again, there's a lot of ways to look at this. Now, what happens? This is what my theory is. And my opinion, actually. What happens if they use a hypersonic or like a really big-time ballistic missile and we see one of those big high-rise towers get hit in Tel Aviv? Does the United States get involved then? Remember, our policy is to defend Israel. Regardless if you think about war, getting involved, I get it. But it is our policy, U.S. policy, to defend Israel. Unless that has changed, which is very possible, it may have changed. But at the same time, I don't want to hear the rhetoric, I've done more for Israel than any other president that has ever existed. Because under no other president have we seen the bombardment on Tel Aviv, Haifa, and a lot of other areas of Israel. This is a different situation. This is a game changer. This is on a whole new level. There's never been an exchange like this between Iran and Israel, ever. A lot of people don't even want to put the word war to it. But this is a total escalation, more than we've ever seen, ever, since Israel was created in 47. So it's not the same old, same old. This is different. This is definitely more serious. And if that's true, what Amol put in chat, that the Ayatollah has fled and gone to Russia, similar to what happened to Syria not too long ago, that's a game changer. That he's fled. That's a game changer. So when you hear about ceasefire negotiations, talks, who are you going to talk to? A person in exile who has no control over their country? So right now, there are so many questions Who do you deal with? What is going on in Iran right now? Who's running the country? Is he running the country in exile in Russia? Is he giving the command to the IRGC, Quds Force, all the other from Russia? If this is all true that he fled, I don't know. I have not confirmed that. Amol put that somebody mentioned that. I don't know. So there is a lot of instability right now in Iran. We don't even know who's in charge. We don't even know who would be the one to talk to create a ceasefire. No, but we can't get involved like that. What? I don't know who that is. I don't pick up numbers that I don't identify. Atlantic City. I don't even know anybody in Atlantic City. That would provoke absolute, because you got to remember, we're still dealing with Persian people. We're still dealing with the Muslim community. The United States makes any kind of move like that, it could turn into a regional war. We have to be very careful here. We just can't be dropping bombs. And you got to remember, there's also, you have to be concerned of any kind of radioactive leaks, contamination. There's a lot of things to think about here. I mean, it's so, I mean, I'm no offense. It's easy to say just bomb the hell out of them. But there are repercussions from that. Like some people say, oh, let's bomb their oil fields. A lot of other countries that depend on oil from Iran are not going to like that. So you got to be, it's precision. You have to be calculated, careful. This is a very, very dicey, tense situation. And people just can't go off the rails, jumping, you know what I mean, and saying, it's a tinderbox. It's already, you see what's going on. As bad as it is, it could get worse if not careful. The thing is, how desperate will Iran get? Another thing to be concerned about, what if, and this is what scares me even more, if we get involved, who's to say things don't happen domestically in our country? That's a major concern. Once we get involved, things could happen here. God forbid. By cells. Here. Right now. We have to be very careful here. They made plans for just we were tanking with Iran way back then. And China provides a lot of missile guidance, electronics to Iran, or were at least. I don't know about now. It'd be curious to look at flight radar and see what's going on, right? Last night, Steve on Agenda Free showed tankers leaving the United States, and many tankers are heading overseas. Is that normal? I don't know. But it was like, whoa, refueling tankers. Just maybe we're putting the assets in place just in case. Maybe that's normal. I don't know. I want to look up flight radar. Let's see what's going on over there. And I have all the filters on, so. See, KJ, I can control things a lot easier here than I can on TikTok. And I can say things that I could never say on TikTok. You gotta be super careful over there. All right. Ain't nothing happening. Look at this. There's nothing. Everybody's avoiding it. Look. Look at everybody's avoiding it. Completely. There is no air traffic in here. None. Zero. Nada. But it looks like there could be activity in Lebanon. But that has nothing. Israel's airspace is closed still too, obviously. What is this? That's Jordan. So Jordan, they're still, because they're not involved. A lot of planes are coming into Jordan. Where did that come from? Interesting. That came from Doha, though. That one. Amman Jordan. Doha. It's taking off. What about this one? It's leaving Jordan. Come on. Why aren't we getting none of that? Farnborough, Jordan. That just came in. That's leaving to Lebanon. Okay, so you could see no air traffic. No air traffic over Syria. Or Iraq. Or Iran. Nothing. Look at that. Look how everybody's avoiding that whole area. Look at that. That says a lot right there. So you could see there ain't nothing. Now this doesn't show. There's a website, I can't remember the name, that Steve from Agenda Free was talking about last night, that shows you military aircraft. I can't remember the name of it. It started with an A. But that just goes to show you. That whole area closed their airspace. Now I'm going to see if I can find the site that Steve was using. If I see it, I'll know it, but I'll remember it. That's it. This is the one he was using. I'm going to bookmark this for future reference. It is already bookmarked. That's incredible. Oh my God. Look at all these. Oh my gosh. But we have to filter it. I would have to figure out how to do the layers. Well, let's see what's crossing over. That's Ethiopian. Wow, this, I would have to work on this to figure out the filters. There's a lot here. Oh my God. Look at all this. And I would have to figure out how to use the filters. Filters. Filter by call sign, type code, type description. Let's try that. Fuel. Okay, that didn't help. I'm gonna have to learn how to use this one, because I have no idea what the heck I'm doing, to be honest. Clear. Other. No. Military. All right, let's undo these. Military. Columns. Type. Let's see what a refueler is as listed as a type. Aircraft fueling. Here's the codes. This would be really difficult to figure out. Search. Well, what? Better yet, that's a better way to do it. If we look up the types, list of military, aerial, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. So the KC-130, let's look up the KC-130, search, KC-130. No matches found in current view. Okay, let's try the other one. The KC-135. I know that one is in operation. It's saying no match. That's bullshit. No matches found. Filter by type code. KC-135. Anyway, I'm not gonna go nuts with this. I'm gonna have to learn how to use this later, because that's interesting. But yeah, it's complicated, and I'm gonna get the heck off because I gotta go do a pre-record. So everyone, be well, be blessed, be safe. See everybody later on this afternoon, maybe. And